And hi and welcome to our Baylor Coaches Show. We are live at Rudy's this evening. We are glad you're with us. A great crowd here at Rudy's. Thanks to those of you watching or listening. And join me in welcoming our first guest of the evening, Baylor's acrobatics and tumbling, 7-time Ncata national championship coach, Coach Felicia Mulkey. Welcome to you.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I never get tired of saying that. 7-time defending national champs.
I don't get tired of hearing it.
Well,
so you can say it as many times as you want.
I will do that. And let's say the only reason it's not 8 was you didn't have a championship one year.
Yes, for COVID. I would like to believe that's the reason.
That's
so
our
yes,
story.
We're going to go with that.
And we're sticking with it because this is your 9th year coming up here at Baylor. How about that? 9 years.
I can't believe that.
Does that seem possible?
No. I mean, I clearly moved here when I was 15. So.
Of course you did. And it's your 14th year coaching overall. You started when you were 10.
I know. It's crazy. What a youngster.
So that's great. How are things going? What are y'all doing here in the fall? What are you doing to get ready for your season that kicks off in February?
So this is our big preseason training, and you know, our athletes come from a lot of different disciplines. So we have acrobatic gymnasts that come in, artistic gymnasts, competitive cheer, and they all come in and compete in this one sport at the collegiate level. So our fall is spent strength training in the weight room and then bringing all of those different disciplines to the same playing field. So it's fun. It's a fun part of the season, and they're all learning little different pieces, but we're just kind of putting it all together right now, and it's going really well.
That's great. And again, let's make this point, core strength, really important. Mm-hmm. So you spend a lot of time on that, deservedly so.
Yes, so they are with our strength conditioning coach more than they're with me in the fall. You know, they're in there 3 times a week because it is truly the foundation of you know, what we're doing. And it translates right into practices. So we actually just today at practice, we saw some skills that these freshmen could not do 3 weeks ago. And they came in and all of this, I mean, I can't wait for you to see them, all of this overhead strength. It is amazing what they can do.
Wow,
so,
that is great.
Thanks to Coach Roof in the weight room.
There you go, Coach Roof. Shout out Chris Roof. Well done. And let's make this point, again, right off the top. I contend, and I think you agree, that pound for pound, your student-athletes are the strongest student-athletes we have in any sport at Baylor.
I agree, and Dave Aranda is going to agree as well when he's here. I'm not sure if he's here yet, but he will agree with us. So.
Yes, yeah, he has before. I mean, he did not disagree with that one bit.
No.
Very cool. So the schedule ahead in the spring, give us some of the highlights as we look ahead.
I think we have 4. Is it 4 home meets this year? Maybe 3. I think 3?
I think 4. Let me look. 4 at home and 3 away.
Yeah. So we're really excited to have that home.
Nice.
The home. We have such great fan base, so I try to get as many home meets as possible. So we're excited about that. We're hosting our first one right off the bat on February the 5th against West Liberty.
Okay.
Fun fact there: Treasure Fields, who is our director of operations, actually started the program at West Lib.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she was the head coach there and brought her here. We'll go to Oregon. They will come here, and then we'll also host Quinnipiac and Presbyterian, which are 2 of the other Division I programs that we have right now. Both of those, so all 3, except for the West Liberty, all of our other 3 home meets will be Division I competition.
Nice, very good.
So we're really, you know, as this young sport, that's a big deal
to
be able to get all the Division Is in one place. So we're excited about that.
Okay, give us an update. Young sport, but growing. Mm-hmm. Where are you now numbers-wise with acrobatics and tumbling?
So when we started back in 2009, we were at 6 schools, and we recently announced number 48 that sponsor acrobatics and tumbling as a varsity sport, and we are truly at 50. 49 and 50 have not publicly announced yet. They are right now hiring their coach. Okay. So I wish I would have researched and found out what I told you where we were the last time I was with you here, because we've added 10 schools this calendar year.
Oh, a bunch,
in 2022. So we're growing by leaps and bounds. Got some more interest today. So I have no idea when I'm back here in the spring talking to you. I'm hoping we're talking about 60 schools that have added.
Isn't that great?
It's amazing.
I mean, it's just such an upward trajectory, and keep adding schools, and like you like to say, that many more opportunities for women in college.
It's true. Every school that adds is 40 new opportunities for women to compete that were not there, you know, before the sport. So very rarely in life do you get to watch a sport grow like this. We're the first sport outside of football and American football that was created at the collegiate level that has trickled down, and we were created specifically for the collegiate level to meet interest and ability. So it's a great story. Somebody needs to tell our story. I will tell it, but
you do a good job telling the story, and we'll help spread that. And when you reached, was it 40, you gained NCAA emerging sports status.
So we were voted as an we were voted as an emerging sport August the 1st of 2020.
Okay.
And we at that time were in mid-30s of school, so that put us on the emerging sport list. To get to the next step, which is NCAA championship status, we have to have 40 schools competing in an entire year with at least 6 competitions and 18 people on the team.
Okay.
So since we have added so many new schools this year, a lot of those schools are in their recruitment years. So we actually won't hit that phase until the next competition season, which is still really quick, honestly. So we have 12, I guess, schools right now still in that recruiting phase. And I mean, we just added 10. So 10 of them are still building. So yeah, I would say by 2025 we should hopefully hit championship status.
Wow. And then the NCAA takes over. I mean, you now are under the umbrella of the NCATA, and it's been really good for you and very well run, but then you'll be under the umbrella of the NCAA.
Yes, so basically the NCAA at that point, we're already an NCAA sport and now just like every other sport on our campus, but at that time they'll run our championship.
I got you.
So I got to stick around at least that long. We got to get. I mean, we got all these NCATA trophies, right? Which are wonderful, but we need an NCAA trophy.
Yes. Yeah. And more than one.
We'll get a couple.
You stick around for a while.
I'm staying as long as you stay, John.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. All right. You stick around, but we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Coach Felicia Mulkey is with us, Baylor acrobatics and tumbling head coach. We are live at Rudy's, thanks to our host here at Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue, and we'll be right back after this. And back as we continue on the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's. Great to be back at Rudy's. Thanks for being with us this evening. Thanks to Josh back there in the back. Josh, we appreciate you. Let's give them a round of applause. Our hosts here at Rudy's this evening. Wouldn't want to do it any other place, Josh, so thank you very much. And they've got a great deal going on right now, and a great way for you to participate with the Pink Cup campaign. If you're watching on television or you're here in the restaurant, you'll see what I'm holding up. But the Pink Cup campaign, you buy one of these, $1 donation for every cup that is sold in the month of October, and it stays right here in Waco, McLennan County at the McClinton Cancer Center. So October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Rudy's doing their part. So Josh, well done. Hope you sell a lot of those cups, and we appreciate your heart there supporting breast cancer awareness. All right, continuing with Coach Felicia Mulkey, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. Tell us about the makeup of your team this year. What's your team look like?
We graduated a big class, and our athletes are smart ones too. So a few of them graduated early. So we have a little bit smaller roster just for this year. We're about 42 athletes, and at last year at this time we were at 52.
Oh,
so,
wow!
Yeah, that's a big change in number, but probably I think 7 or 8 seniors and 15 freshmen. So I think our junior class is around 5. It's a very the way I explain it, and I'm going to knock on wood so it stays this way, it's a very peaceful team this year.
Nice.
So the upperclassmen group, they're just so chill and definitely do not take themselves, they never take themselves too seriously. None of them do. But it's a very chill group, and they're the way they're handling adversity is just I needed it this year. Sometimes as a coach, you need one of those years. And this year, this team is just doing such a great job of creating relationships with the freshmen, teaching them the ropes, and then just creating this culture that we want. So makeup-wise, mentality-wise, I'm very excited, and it's a pleasure to go to practice every day. So I love it.
Really good.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Talent-wise, we're pretty excited. So we have Bailey and Jordan back with all of our handstand stuff. We have several other acro bases that came in as freshmen who are the acrobatic gymnastics bases are the ones who can do all of the crazy hand-to-hand connections with the handstands and all of the Cirque du Soleil stuff. So you're going to see a lot more of that this year.
Ooh.
And you'll see some new tumblers that you haven't seen before that maybe have been around and have developed some new skills over the year. So I'm excited to see. It'll be some new faces. But I think that's exciting. So it's going to be a great year.
Good. Along those lines, let me get to a question that ties right in perfectly. This is our First Place Foods Ask the Coach question. First Place Foods, that's a darn good pickle. And this is from Roy Evans right here. Roy says, we had hand-to-hand last year. What can we see new this year? Or is that top secret that you don't?
I'm gonna say it. You're gonna hear it here first. You'll see something called a ring. So she is in a handstand and then takes her feet over her head and places them so her hands are on Bailey's hands and her feet come over her head, and she puts her feet on her hands, on her own hands, and Bailey's holding her over her head, and then Bailey will lower her to this position. They're already hitting that at this point in the year, and that's just one of many. So we've got that. That's going to be a fun one. You heard it here first. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I see it every day, and it never ceases to amaze me.
Wow. And the hand-to-hand was brand new, kind of groundbreaking last year when you debuted that.
Yeah, we had handstands before, but we had never had the one-arm handstand.
One-arm, yeah.
So, but what we're seeing now, a lot more of strength overhead, not just with Bailey. So I saw freshmen today, throwing these athletes up and holding them overhead. It's one thing to get someone up that high. It's another thing to hold them there steady. So the overhead stability is just crazy. So to be able to do that hand-to-foot connection or hand-to-hand connection is amazing. And then you add all of the back arches and the rings and the flags and all of these things. We'll have to have next time I'm here, have a little tutorial. I'll have pictures of them because they all have different names.
Right.
All these different body positions, but they're just something else to watch.
Really cool. The funny thing is, thanks, Roy, for that question. The funny thing is, Roy does that ring just to loosen up every morning.
Yeah, I see him over there. Yeah, I see him at the bookstore.
Exactly.
He does that.
If you go to the bookstore, he might put on a display for you. So very good question, Roy. Thanks for that. And we talked about your team and the makeup and the chill vibe that you've got going on now. Yeah. That is nice. And your coaching staff, one significant addition to your coaching staff this year.
Yes. So Aaliyah Nolan Stark, her husband, got a head basketball coaching job in Buffalo, New York. Which is where they were from. So it was such a great opportunity for them to move back and be near family. So a fun fact there, I don't know if you're aware of that, he went and took the head coaching job at DUville, which is a D2 school there in Buffalo, and she just recently, Aaliyah was just named head coach of Buffalo State acrobatics and tumbling.
Oh,
so it was like this perfect storm.
Yeah.
So we have another, pseudo Baylor Bear. She once a bear, always a bear. So we'll claim her. So we were sad to see her go, but really thrilled that Courtney Pate Oates is back with us, and she is a former Baylor Bear. When I got here in 2014, she was a junior, so I got to coach her for 2 years, and I just adore her. She volunteer coached with us for a couple of months and then moved to West Virginia and started a program at West Virginia Wesleyan, left there, went to Mary Hardin Baylor, started a program there, and an amazing Division III program at Mary Hardin Baylor. And so I decided I wanted to bring her home, and so that's what we did. But yeah, she's... You know her and her.
Sure.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
she's an amazing coach, but a better human being. So it's really nice. Also a chill vibe in my office, which is wonderful.
From a great family. The Pates are great.
Yes.
So that is really cool to have her back. Somebody with that kind of experience has started 2 programs of her own.
Absolutely. And went out the ground route recruiting and just went out and created, started the program. That's just huge to be able to go out and do that and build large rosters at both of those schools. And then the skills coaching that she offers is great. And then the mentorship. She's just when she was on the team, I told my team this year when I introduced her, you all need to be like Coach Courtney. When you on the team, you need to be a teammate like her. She was just someone who would not put up with the drama, and she was the person a coach wants on their team. So to have that type of mentorship with our program is really important too.
Wow, that's great. And then Kelsey Rao is still here, and Treasure is still here.
Yep, Kelsey's wonderful. She is just the best tumbling coach in the country and is just making waves and doing big things. She was doing big things at practice today, getting those athletes ready to go. And then Treasure's still with us, just running stuff. Anytime, anything. I'm here today because Treasure reminded me that I needed to be here, and she just runs everything behind the scenes.
There
Absolutely.
You go.
So I'm really lucky. I have a great staff.
Did Kelsey? I don't know why I thought about this, but we had the Iron Man here in Waco last weekend. Did she participate in that?
She did not, but we should tell her she should do that.
I think so.
I'm going to tell her you said that.
Please do.
I will.
Tell her I brought it up on the air.
I will.
When is she going to do an Iron Man?
Isn't she amazing?
She could do it.
She totally
She
could.
could absolutely do it. All right, we're visiting with Felicia Mulkey, Baylor acrobatics and tumbling head coach. We've got plenty more to come. We'll take a break. Be back with more in a moment, live from Rudy's. Stay with us, and we'll be back after this. And continuing on the Baylor Coaches Show tonight, live from Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. Glad you're with us. Coach Felicia Mulkey continues with us, Baylor acrobatics and tumbling. Coach Dave Aranda will be with us bottom of the hour. We look forward to that. Hey, it's homecoming this week. What do y'all do? Anything as a group for homecoming? In the parade or anything?
We're not doing the parade this year. We are our practice is open to our alumni.
Nice.
So we're going to have an alumni dinner after practice on Friday and get together. And then they'll do their own thing on Saturday, but just an opportunity to get together.
Gotcha.
While they're coming home.
It's fun, isn't it? Do you get a lot of alums that come back?
We do. We do an alumni day during meet season, and this is the first time we've done it during football season. So we've got a good crowd. I think it'll be bigger as we continue to do it, but it's always fun to let them come back and see what's going on, because all of these hand-to-hand things we were just talking about, those are new.
Yeah.
Since a lot of those athletes graduated, so they love coming and we love having them.
Very good. All right, let's if those of you watching again, we've got the Old Trapper beef jerky up on the set here. Old Trapper, what's your beef for this segment or for this sponsored segment? What's the beef? We talked about your schedule. The beef of your schedule obviously comes in the spring, 4 home meets, 3 away, but you really seriously, you're trying to beef up your schedule with the opponents that you bring in here.
With all of the Division I competition that we have, which it's going to be, the home schedule this year is going to be great. So Presbyterian, Quinnipiac University, which is a great program, and then the University of Oregon, which is historically, traditionally really good. So, yeah, that's going to be the crux of it. Will be, I guess, the beef of the schedule will be middle of March.
Well done.
There you go. Sign me up.
Yeah. Right? Take some beef jerky home with you.
Home. I earned my beef jerky. But the beef of the schedule will be the middle of March until the middle of April, and that's when we're going to see all of the big competition.
Very good. And I remember in years past you always say, as you hit the start of your schedule, you just want to be an upward climb, constant moving forward in everything you do.
Yes, peak at the right time.
Yeah.
So we don't definitely want to do well that first meet out, but you expect to be able to come back and make some adjustments and learn some more. You want to leave something on the table, I think. Feel like it's just more fun that way, and then I think the outcome is usually better that way.
It's been a great formula for you.
It's working out.
7 straight Ncata national championships. And the national championship, we don't get it again this year. What's going on?
I know, John. If I would have left it up to you, it would have been a Baylor.
Yes.
No, I'm excited. It's at West Liberty University, which is in West Virginia. It's one of our Division II programs up there in the Mountain East Conference, the very first conference to sponsor acrobatics and tumbling as a sport. So I think it's great that we're hosting the championship there at one of their institutions, and their AD has just been great. Lynn Ullum, I'm giving him a shout out in case he hears this. He's wonderful. He's so supportive. They do such a great job running their meets and handling everything. I think they're going to do a great job of the championship.
Great.
The only thing that will make it better is if you come and announce it. And I think Lynn would love that because he would probably. I think you should come. We should.
No, they've got that under control. But it's just so fun when we host it here.
It is.
Is there a rotation, or is it kind of year to year? Like, do we know when we might host the nationals again?
Probably in the next 2 or 3 years. We can put a bid in. And so now that we're growing, there will be more opportunities for other schools to host it. And, we have such a great fan base, just numbers-wise, and then just a great fan base of humans that comes out and supports all of the teams that are in the championship. It's just a great place to hold it. So, but I think West Liberty's going to do a great job.
Cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Is there some thought that it's great to host, but it's kind of a responsibility to host, and if you go somewhere, you can just focus, just on the competition?
Yeah, Baylor does a great job when we host. I don't actually have to do anything for that. I don't have any responsibilities. But there is something for me. I like to travel to the championship, so there's this trade-off of this amazing fan base and this home field advantage, if you will, to that focus and the ability to travel and be there's something about the focus that's different there, because our athletes are such great students that even if they're excused from class and we're here in a hotel in Waco for the championship, they still go to class.
Right.
I didn't do it that way, John. If I had an opportunity to get out of class, I would.
They are too studious.
They are so studious.
That's great.
Yeah.
And speaking of travel, one of your road meets this year is in the spring is to Hawaii.
It is, yes. Yeah. Maybe that should be the beef of the schedule. No, it's
yeah, that's part of the beef.
Yes, it's over Easter weekend.
That'll be nice.
So we did it over that weekend so we could miss as little school as possible, and it fit in with their schedule pretty well. So I'm excited. We haven't been to Hawaii in a couple of years. It is not my favorite trip with 36 or 28 young women in Honolulu, Hawaii. That's a big city. I get nervous. I take it very seriously. They're my responsibility, but they love it. And the families will come and we'll celebrate Easter there.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
That's a great trip and great timing to do it, as a team together, as a acrobatics and tumbling family to celebrate Easter together.
Yes, I think so.
That's good. Let me ask you, part of your family, and you talk about alums and coming back, one of those has had some recent success in a different arena here lately. That is Haley Cowan, who is now an MMA competitor and doing really well, and has her picture up on billboards on I-35. Isn't that fun to see?
It is so amazing. I'm so proud of her. I didn't get the chance to coach Haley. She graduated the year that I came in, so I didn't get to coach her. I coached her younger sister for 3 years. and just love that family, love her, and I'm so proud of her. And to watch her, she had an opportunity to coach at a school when she first graduated, and I remember her telling me, like, no, I think I'm going to do this fight thing for a while. And I was like, okay. And she did it. And I think one of the coolest things about her is that I've noted in just watching her journey is she's not afraid to fail. And that's why she's winning. That's why she has this, is it UFC contract? Am I right in saying
exactly.
that? That's why she achieved that. She was not afraid to put herself out there. She wasn't afraid to do the work. She wasn't afraid to lose a fight or two. And I'm overjoyed for her to watch her go, to have all of the success and everything else that comes along with it.
Dana White Contender Series.
Yes,
she won that fight, so a UFC contract. I've learned all this because of Haley.
Yeah.
But she really credits her success now to that background and what she learned, even going back to high school, competitive cheer, but then at Baylor also.
Yeah, she was a fantastic gymnast and likely did some competitive cheer, but you can see it. I watched the fight that she won to get the contract. I had never watched one before.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her about it, but I was freaked out. Have you ever watched this?
I watched her a little bit. That's it.
Amazing athleticism. And I was just like, this is what I was doing, like, oh my gosh, because it's very slow and methodical, at least that fight was, and I needed to help her.
Yeah.
I don't know how if her mom, I love her mom, Tracy. I'm like, how do you sit out there? Because I would need to get into the cage and move it, because it's so methodical and so thought out. It's not just get in there and beat the other person up. Like, there is a strategy to it, this athleticism, and her long limbs.
Yeah.
I mean, she just handed it to that other one. The other lady did fine too.
Yeah.
But I was Team Haley.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited for her. I can't wait to see where this goes.
That's pretty fun. And isn't it great to know not just her, but all your alums who are out there doing great things, a lot of them coaching in this sport, but just going on to be very successful, preparing champions for life.
Yeah, they're out there doing big things, changing the world. I love it.
Isn't that nice? All right, very good. Let's take a break here, and then we'll be back with more in just a moment. Coach Aranda is coming up next. Any words of advice for Coach Aranda in season here?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I will pose the question again about the strongest team in the country, but I'll wait. I like to put him on the spot. He's not paying enough attention. Could we get Jerry Hill up here doing a handstand with the ring?
Back, reaching
Jerry
over.
Hill is here, you guys. I think he could do that.
Yeah.
No?
Jerry, let's work on that, will we? Work on that flexibility for sure. Folks, give a hand to Felicia Mulkey, Baylor's acrobatics and tumbling head coach. Thanks for being here in the fall. We'll certainly have you back in the spring when your season begins. Take some of the old Trapper beef jerky with you tonight. Thanks for being here.
All right, thank you.
Jeff, great to have you here as well. We appreciate you. Take a break. Be right back. Coach Dave Aranda joins us when we come back on the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. And we'll be right back after this. And back on our Baylor Coaches Show tonight, live from Rudy's. Time for our Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics Health Tip of the Week. Don't let pain slow you down. We diagnose and treat sports-related injuries and provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike. Visit a Baylor Scott and White Sports Medicine and Orthopedics specialist and move like you used to. And as we continue on our show across the bottom of the hour, welcome Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda here this evening. Coach, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Excited to be here.
Good to be back at Rudy's. We appreciate you. Homecoming week. We talked about this earlier, but you guys, there's so many activities going on, but you guys are very single-minded, one focus on homecoming, right, is winning the homecoming game.
Yeah, well, I know how big of a deal homecoming is, just being in the past, just, this being the third season. And just every week I have the opportunity to talk to a bunch of alumni. We make phone calls right at the end of practice, and I'll talk to former players and really invite them to try to come down to a meeting or a practice and just try to open up their place kind of back to them, and let them know that they're welcome and we want to see them. And, I just always feel like the best thing for our players now to see are the former players and to see the men that they've become, their families, the lives that they they live, and then really kind of how they live them. And so, in talking with them the last couple of weeks, they've all mentioned this. And so I know that they're all excited to come back, and I'm excited to see them.
It's kind of homecoming every week for you, the way you welcome those guys in. I think that's really cool. What's been the reception of the calls you've made?
No, it's been good. I just, I think it's just so important. I mean, there's so much to be proud of, to be a former Baylor football player and, or just, a former Baylor student. And, I think for some of them, I think some of the guys that played for Coach Taft, I think there is that confidence and there is that belief. I think for some maybe other guys that played in other eras or other times, there's not. And so it's kind of like bringing them out of the shadows. I don't know if I should be saying it all like that, but I feel like that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, and get here amongst your brothers and all of it. And I just think, again, when our players can see these guys come back and just see like how they carry themselves, and hey, I'm around a guy for a whole day and he didn't cuss, and I'm around him for a whole day and he praised God, and I'm around him the whole day and you see how he treated his wife and his kids. Like, all that's the deal. And so, yeah, we try to get him back.
That's cool. I appreciate that, as a Baylor alum, the way you incorporate them and make them feel welcome and bring them back, because, a lot of those guys, their coaches are long gone from here, and it's nice to have that touch point and that welcoming phone call that they're always welcome.
Yeah, a lot of them were taking up on it, coming by and visiting for a meeting or sitting in on practice and stuff, and so it's way cool, man. I think after you see them on the phones and stuff, and then they FaceTime, in practice fields, and so then when I can meet them face to face and stuff, it's very good.
Very nice. How's practice been? Back to work after the game last Thursday.
Really good. Just right here, just talking about a couple guys that have been out to practice, and the energy's been really good. I know. I don't know if that sounds weird or anything, but it's just been really good, and there's a mix of kind of chip on your shoulder, but also kind of positive thing going, and so I think for a lot of us is right what you'd want it, given where everything's at, and so today was really good. So I on Mondays I meet with all of our young players. That's our freshmen and our sophomores. Tuesdays I meet with our leadership council. It's Blake Chapin and Dylan Doyle. A couple other guys are on there. Gavin Holmes is on there. Ben Sims. And then tonight I met with our developmental group, and these are kind of like emerging leaders. Apu Ika's on there. Cole Maxwell's on there. Aranda Johnson's on there. And just the feedback from them is really good. And so I think we're at a spot relationship-wise where I feel like I can ask real stuff and they can answer with real things. So I think, it's so far so good this week.
Those guys kind of give you the pulse of the entire team. Is
Yeah,
that what you get from them?
yeah, and then just kind of what they really think. I think sometimes I know, you know, for me as a coach, when I can sit with other coaches and maybe there's a frustration with this, and this is just like daily life, and this would be no different, I guess, than being at home with, your wife or your kids, or just giving them the opportunity to talk. And it's not so much having answers, but it's just kind of sitting there and being present. I think that's just really strong, and I know I do that for coaches, and I don't know. I think sometimes I mean, who's doing that for the players? You know, and so
That's good.
they're just kind of always kind of carrying stuff, and I think they get so used to it they don't realize how heavy it's gotten, and so just going through that is good. And then I think when you do that, there's a stronger connection, and then there's a trust, and then you get the real stuff. Because I think prior to doing that, it's like, hey, how's your day? Good. Well, that's good.
And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You mentioned chip on your shoulder, but good energy. Do you feel like there's a chip on their shoulder now coming out of the last 2 games?
Yeah. Now, we've had to teach that, and so you would kind of like it for you to not have to teach that. I think that just kind of speaks to just everything about this year. And so, like, we've had to teach that. Like, after a loss, no one's kind of making mean faces at people, but we shouldn't be, laughing at stuff. We should feel a hurt and a pain for your teammates and the work that's been put in, and we want more than just participation. And so I feel like I feel like we're at a spot to where there's a chip on your shoulder, and we can hopefully do something about it.
Very good. Let's take a break. When we come back, maybe ask you about the health of some of your guys as we move forward. Kansas coming in this Saturday. We'll do that with Coach Dave Aranda. When we come back in just a moment, we are live at Rudy's. It's the Baylor Coaches Show, and we'll be right back after this. And back with us on the Baylor Coaches Show live from Rudy's. Great group here at Rudy's this evening. Thanks to all of you. I see Nick over there. Nick, thank you very much for your great hospitality here at Rudy's. We love coming here. And we continue with Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda. Coach, a question, and we'll get to some of our first place foods questions in a moment. But a question on a lot of folks' mind is the health of some of your players, guys who went out of the West Virginia game, like Blake Shapen, like Squirrel Williams. What can you tell us about their status?
Yeah, Blake is back, so he's been with us this week. Has looked really good, feels good. It's really a positive to see his growth just as a leader. I think, he's feeling more and more grounded and connected to what we're doing offensively, and he has ownership of that, and he speaks into that. But then he can really kind of almost translate stuff to the players, especially our young receivers, and so having him at the helm of it, is really, really good. And he's just taken more and more steps. I think this last game for him was a big boost, and so excited for him, with all of it. And I think with Squirrel, we're probably still going to be another week out, and so I think he's still working to feel better and get in a better space so that he can play.
And let's make sure everybody knows, this is not you looking in their eyes and saying how you feel. Mm-hmm. There's tests, there's specific tests they have to go through and pass to get back out there.
Yeah, so with the Thursday game, there's a couple more days that you have with, generally, obviously, a given week would be Saturday to Saturday. And so it's kind of a strict timeline in terms of they have to take a test that is motor function, memory, and these things have to come back, and then their practice is kind of a fourth of a practice on one day, and if they feel okay after that, then it's a half of a practice, and then they can get to where it's a full. And all throughout that, there's trainers right there looking at them, seeing kind of how they're recovering. So even if their words, they say whatever they say, so they want to play, the trainer's looking at them and measuring it, and so. Yeah, he's done well with all that process.
Good, very good. That's good news. Glad he's okay personally, and then to have him back as a player, that's big also. Yeah. So we got some of the questions here. Let's get to those so we don't run out of time. These are our First Place Foods Ask the Coach questions, brought to you by First Place Foods. Fee, that's a darn good pickle. Steve Van Wagner asks, and Steve is right here. He says, is the team maintaining a good outlook for the rest of the season?
It is, yeah. And so, again, today, just meeting with a developmental group, a lot of leaders in that group, and just way positive, but way realistic too. And so, very appreciative of all that. I'm almost kind of proud of that, of their toughness. I think so much of toughness is having, with all the emotional pulls and tugs at things, to kind of keep a real honest look at stuff, and to be able to answer a call or to answer a question with with the appropriate response, and not just making an emotional one. And I think those guys are doing that, and I think that'll translate really good on Saturday. So Saturday mornings. I feel like it's been good. I feel good about their headspace.
Good. Steve, thanks. Good question. Here's a question from young Mason Salisbury right over here. Mason says, Coach, what were some positive things from Thursday's game?
Let's see. So, offensively, I thought we were able to move the ball quite a bit, throw the ball. I thought the running game was positive in a lot of ways. I thought that, we were able to run after the catch. So Gavin Holmes is a great example. So the week previous with Gavin, or prior to that, Gavin was one of our top receivers, and he goes in, 2 weeks ago versus Oklahoma State, and just doesn't have the game that he wants to have. And just like, with how we go, there's the praise, and then there's the criticism. And so, he was that criticism can bite, and I know for Gavin, he was able, he got bit by that, and for him to come back on Thursday and have the game that he had. And what's so cool about it is for him, it's not about like proving other people wrong. It's about learning and growing for himself, and that's just so cool. And I think that's totally it. And so there's a lot of that on Thursday. I thought special teams, there's some positives. I think we have to have a much better consistency there, though, you know. But I thought there was some growth from the previous game that we played. So there's some things to improve on, you know, but I think we're doing a lot of things well, too, you know.
Very good. Mason, good question. We appreciate that. Here's a question from Tommy right up front. Also, Tommy says, after Thursday's game in West Virginia, is it better to have extra days, or would you rather play right away again?
Yeah, I think initially you'd want to play right away to get it kind of out your system, but I think it is good to sit with it, because then I think you can, you know, I think the growth that comes from adversity and difficulty is always the thing. And so, you know, we all go through adversity, but it's, you know, it's the choice to kind of sit with it and then go through it and use it, you know, which is the hard stuff to do. But I think that's where the transformation occurs, and I'm hopeful that that's what's happening here, you know, because I think there's, you know, you look at just the practices, really the last 3 weeks, starting with the start of the bye, and where we are now, it's just gotten better and better and better. And so I'm excited about where it's going.
Very cool. Can't wait to see it on the field on Saturday. Final question, for now at least, of our First Place Foods Ask the Coach, from Rose Berryman. Where is Rose? In the room. Okay. Oh, there you are, back there. All right. Rose says the gist of her question is, how's the confidence of the players right now?
It's good. Yeah, I think, you know, I think what has been happening is that everybody wants to do well. Everybody wants to achieve. Everyone, you know, coming into the season knew the expectations and the weight of it. And I just think that, you know, I think my job and where I can be better is being stronger and getting guys to trust the process and to not go outside of it. And I think in the ways, the individual ways that guys go about trying to help the team, you know, they end up hurting it. And I just think that, you know, getting it to where you can kind of trust your guy to the left and guy to the right, and trust your coaches are putting you in the right spot, and do your 1/11th. I think that's really the key. And it's almost like do less, you know. Stop trying to do more, do less, and, you know, we'll see. And it's all translated really well in practice, but I think those things have to, you know, Kansas way physical team, and so are we, and so, you know, we're going to throw punches with all of it. We're going to get hit in the face with it, and it's how we respond, which will really tell the tale. So.
Good. Rose, thank you very much. Good question. I love your analogy of the 1/11th. I mean, that's very applicable, and it's a good message.
Yeah, you know, I think it's, you know, you're part of a team, and so you got dudes that are dependent on you and counting on you and everything, and really love you, really, you know, and so they know that you're capable of, and so I just think, you know, everybody wants to do well, and everybody wants to kind of what we talked about, get the taste out of their mouths and stuff, but it's like, you know, hey, trust the guy to the left, trust the guy to the right, trust your coaches. Hey, you know, you have to have a belief that little details, little things, right, are bigger than big moments, right, and that those things will show up. You know, I think some of our mistakes have we gotten into big moments and think, you know what, I better come up with a big thing. And there's the belief that little things can override those big moments when we get to them.
Very cool. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, ask you about the opponent this week, the resurgent Kansas Jayhawks. We'll do that with Coach Dave Aranda when we come back on the Baylor Coaches Show. We'll be right back after this. Back with us with Coach Dave Aranda on the Baylor Coaches Show this evening. And we have, let's see, I got to check this out. No, that's not coming up. It's from Jerry Hill. Jerry's question is, Coach, I'd like to challenge you to a foot race, 50-yard dash. Where did that come from? It's not going to happen here, I can tell you that. Think about that, okay? See if you want to make that happen.
Yeah, it could. Just for me personally, it could just get so much worse, and this could be a part of that.
Okay. All right. Factor that in. And since Felicia Mulkey came up here, we were talking when she was here, and I think you've agreed with this before, that pound for pound, the acrobatics and tumbling student athletes are the strongest of any sport we have on campus.
Yeah, just hearing her talk about just the moves they do and everything, I can't even really picture it. So it's very impressive. And then my family's been to a few of the events, and they're way impressed and so excited for the season for them.
Very good. You get hooked. If you go to one, you'll be hooked. All right, let's talk about Kansas coming in. What a great season for Coach Lance Leipold, and the Jayhawks started off 5-0. Mm-hmm. They've dropped 2 close games recently, so 2 teams really in need of a win this Saturday.
Yeah, way impressed with them. I have so much respect for Coach. And when I was at Wisconsin, he would always stop by, and was there at Whitewater for years, and just his staff would come over, and just awesome dude. And all the Big 12 events that we go to, always kind of just end up standing by him, sitting by him, talk with him. Just way quality guy, and just football guy all the way, but great heart. And I'm so happy for his success and everything. And with all that being said, it's going to be a war on Saturday for sure. I mean, very physical team, great effort. I think we were talking earlier. There's a play where defensively, Kansas on defense, and there's defensive end being blocked by a tight end. Now this defensive end is really kind of whooping this tight end, knocking him back, and the ball carrier shows up, and he's right behind the tight end, and the defensive end is kind of starting to cave a little bit, and he gets one knee on the ground. The ball carrier's coming, and he pops up off that one knee, and he's got the tight end in this hand and the running back in this hand, and he runs them back, and it's a tackle for loss. And just that whole thing, that is just a credit to the coach and that team and the chemistry and the staff and just all of it, the culture there, because that just didn't happen before.
Yeah.
And that's just belief, man, and it's confidence and everything. And so, it'll be a battle. So excited for that.
Is your message this week to the guys? I mean, they know this is a different team, right? I mean, they know this isn't the Kansas of the last few years.
Yeah, we've had to spend some time with that, and I don't think I think what we're talking about now probably was an issue earlier in the year, and I think we've had to teach it like everything else, and they see it right away. You can't help but see it when you watch the film. They've got a stable of really good running backs, and their running backs are lowering their shoulder and falling forward and running over guys and everything. And so the physicality just screams off the tape, and just way impressed. And it's going to be a really physical ball game. And there's supposed to be a fair amount of wind on Saturday, and so the gusts I think could be pretty high. And so I can see the throw game, who's got the wind, who doesn't, and then I can see the run game and the physicality really kind of being upped. And so that'll be a fun one.
So you factor that in. The wind could be some high gusts. You factor that in to your game plan.
Yeah. Being when I coached in the Big Ten, and I think one of the reasons, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I think one of the reasons why in the Big Ten you play such great defense, you really only play defense for like a month, because then once you get into October, then you're playing with weather, and then whether it's wind gusts or it's snow or it's whatever it is, and you just it's to the defensive advantage. Yeah. And so I don't know if it's necessarily going to be that for this one, but I think both teams want to run it anyways, and I think just any type of nudge or push that way will more than happy to oblige.
Coach, we appreciate it. We'll let you go and look forward to Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Coach Dave Aranda, Baylor head football coach, Bears and Jayhawks Saturday, 11 a.m. kickoff at McLean Stadium. Take our final break, be back and wrap things up right after this. And you're back with us. Just enough time to wrap things up on the Baylor Coaches Show this evening. Look ahead to upcoming events. Baylor's volleyball is playing right now against Texas Tech, and they'll be on the road at Kansas State on Saturday. Soccer plays at Tech tomorrow, home versus Kansas on Sunday. And equestrian with their home conference opener, and they get number 1 ranked TCU Friday at noon at the Willis Family Equestrian Center, and that'll be the gold meet for Baylor Equestrian, their home conference opener for the year. So those events coming up. And, of course, Baylor football versus Kansas Saturday morning, 11 a.m., part of homecoming on the Baylor campus. And Baylor does homecoming better than any school in the nation. So it's going to be a fun week and a fun weekend. And we appreciate Coach Felicia Mulkey and Coach Dave Aranda being on with us this evening. So we are finished, and we appreciate you being with us. For now, good night from Rudy's.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.